You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
Talks honest. Talks honest. Talks honest. Talks honest. Hello and welcome. You are tuned into iLive Radio UK, changing the way you listen to radio. I'm your host, Miss Law, and this is a platform and an opportunity for you to discuss topics never spoken but often thought of. You can connect with us by contacting us on 0208 638 8503 or all the W's uk.iliveradio.com.
What if we spoke honestly? What if we spoke honestly? What if we spoke honestly?
Today's show is discussing black voices in Britain. It's a topic and a subject where we look at black people on a whole and how we're perceived and how we are recognised within the UK and other countries. It's an opportunity for us to really delve in and figure out and understand our journey as a people, how we are perceived, whether we're understood, recognized as a people, as a being, as an individual, and as individuals. The word black, the word voices, and us as a people in Britain. Now, what does that mean to you as a person of colour living in the UK? Do you feel that your voice, your being is recognised or heard? Do you feel that as a person of colour, you're looked upon in the right manner? When I say looked upon in the right manner, it may mean a number of things to you as an individual. It may mean how you're perceived as an individual of colour, whether your voice is heard in the right context, whether you're misjudged or just in general just not understood just based on your colour. Being a black individual in Britain, do you feel that your voice is truly heard? Now that's a question that not many of us probably ask ourselves, because we don't really look within to see what we are all about as an individual. So my question is, as a black person in Britain, do you feel that your voice is heard in the right context? Now let's just stop and think about that. As a black person, is your voice heard in Britain? Now that makes us stop and really, really think. 1, you're black. 2, you have a voice. And 3, you live in Britain. Now, living in Britain as a person of colour or a person that is black, are you truly recognised for who you are? are you recognized as inferior to those who are not of color? It's something you really need to sit down and think about for a number of reasons. Now, as a person of color and my voice within Britain, I feel my color is a hindrance to my voice. When I say it's a hindrance to my voice, it's not because I feel that I'm inferior. It's because the fact that society have a perception of black people or people of color. So therefore, their perception of us is less than those of someone who is not of color. Now, you may understand where I'm coming from, and you may think, well, what I'm saying is possibly incorrect, or you do understand elements of what I'm saying. So I take it upon myself to look at this for what it is and think about how others may feel about the situation. Now, do you feel that your voice is heard, being a black individual in Britain? Or do you feel that you're secondary because you are a person of color or because you're black? It's something to think about. Now, there are a number of organizations that take the time out to give people of color an opportunity to voice their opinions, their values, their morals, their standards. But my question to you is, why is it people of color have things cast upon them because they are of color? Why is it that their voices are not heard like a person who is not of color? Now, it's a big question and requires quite a lot of thought. So if you are a person of color and you've been subjected to something that has resulted in a negative light, you are in a position to understand what I'm referring to. So, once again, the subject is Black Voices in Britain. We are going to be discussing with one of my guests today, Khareem Jamal, and he's going to take you on his journey on how he has chosen to channel his energies and his knowledge and experience in this whole market. If you can just bear with me 1 second, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a short break.
What if we spoke honestly? 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 What if we spoke honestly?
Okay, I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce my guest, Khareem Jamal. He's a playwright and director of a show, Black Voices in Britain, Before the Windrush. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you, Mr. Jamal.
Hi, Mandy. You're right.
I'm fine, thank you. So, we're going to take the listeners on a journey about the play that you have written.
Yep.
So we're going to just talk about the show.
Yeah, sure.
Tell us why you named it this.
Why did I call it Black?
Why did you call it Black Voices in Britain?
Well, the whole series is called The Voices of Black Folk.
Yes.
And the subheading is Black Voices in Britain, Before the Windrush.
Yes, that's the important fact.
Yeah, exactly. So simply because there was all this furore about the Windrush, the last 18 months or whatever, and all this stuff with Meghan Markle. So I thought, hold on, okay, so Meghan Markle's married Prince Harry, the second son. What we have black people, or a black princess, black queen already in the Middle Ages, who was married to the king. So I thought, well, let's highlight that as history, and all this stuff about immigrants and stuff, and who's an immigrant, and the way they treat the Windrush generation, that kind of thing. I said, well, hold on, we didn't come with the Windrush generation, we've always been here. So I thought, well, let me just dig into the history of Britain and reveal a few unknown or little known facts about black people in the country.
Okay, so what caused this journey that you've taken with regards to this show?
Yeah.
It started somewhere for you. So
Sure.
obviously these are fit. What you've explained to me just now is later down the line with regards to
to the theatre.
Yes, they do.
And seeing, activities is a good way to teach.
Yeah.
So that's why I've designed this type of teaching through drama, that we can learn our history and also go and have a good time. Just like we did Black Heroes. So,
yeah. Do you find it's well received or better received through theatre?
Because with lectures you only get the academic type of person that comes along. With theatre you get everybody. So
you've got a broader audience.
So we do both.
Yeah.
So
So can you tell us a little bit about the show that's up and coming?
Yeah. So we have a couple of dates. The first one is in Millfield Theatre in Edmonton, which is on the 11th and 12th of April. And then we're in South London in the Peckham Theatre from the 17th, 18th and 19th. And again, the show itself is we've got three main characters.
Okay.
Queen Philippa, who was married to Edward III in the 14th century. We have Ottobah Kogwana, who was kidnapped from Ghana and brought to England and became an abolitionist. And we have Septimius Severus, or to give him his full name, Lucius Septimius Severus Augustus, who was the Roman emperor who lived in New York in about 193, 194 AD. So, yeah. So people get a cross-section of the black presence in Britain through the ages.
So why did you choose those characters over any of the others? Because there are so many to choose from.
Yeah, I think this is a nice cross-section. You've got a queen, you've got an emperor, and you've got an abolitionist. And I think, I don't know how many people are aware of, Queen Philippa. I don't think many,
Would you like to enlighten us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, Queen Philippa, she lived in what's known today as Holland and Belgium, the lowlands and stuff. Of course, wasn't called that then. But she descended from Abyssinia on her mother's side, And of course, as the way was in those days, if the king has a son who's going to be the king after he dies, he sends up someone he trusts to go and look for a suitable match, because we didn't have, there was no Instagram in those days, or there was no internet, there was no phone, there was no TV, so we couldn't see. So what they would do would go and someone you trust would go and perhaps get a portrait made as well, but also come back with a description and a report of that individual that you proposed to marry to your son. So Queen Philippa was the match they thought most likely. So you had a man called Bishop Stapleton of Exeter, who went over to look at her, and he came back with a report, and he described her as being brown of skin all over, and she was fitting as far as the eye could see, I think he would say.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how she got into the royal family. So I thought that was a very interesting thing to throw out there, bearing in mind the whole Meghan Markle stuff,
So your choice, obviously there's so many characters to choose from.
Sure.
So when you made the choice to choose those characters, what was it that made you choose those characters over any others?
Spectacle, I think.
Okay.
And maybe the shock value, I think, also, or the awe value. I think a lot of people aren't aware of Queen Philippa. A lot of people aren't aware of Septimius Severus being a Roman emperor born in North Africa and living in York. You just don't hear that in school. So I think is the element of surprise as well.
Okay.
And also because of their status, I think also it's encouraging people to think, oh, Black Roman Emperor, oh, Black Queen of England, and so on. Yeah.
So it was more. The show is based around awareness, bringing that knowledge of the unknown, and just opening our eyes as a people and those who are not from our background to understand we came from something great.
Well, not only that, and yes. But not only that, but that we were always here in Britain. If you want to talk about immigrants and who's the immigrants, where do we start? How far do we go back? Anglo-Saxons, which is what Britain say they are, they're immigrants. They came in the 5th century. Just depends on where you want to start the discussion.
Yes, indeed.
And of course, my objective in this is to show that we've always been here.
Yes.
And so we predate Anglo-Saxons. Yeah. So, put that in your feather cap.
So when you were doing the production, obviously you've got characters that are very, very different. So how did you make it come together? Because they're all different in their right. Now, the show, is it musical? Is it just theatrical, scripted? Can you just give people a little insight as to what type of theatrical show it is? Yeah,
so the idea is to give people an insight into the individual characters' lives and personalities. So a lot of it's monologue, but it's really it grips you from the beginning to end. That is what people say when they come and see it. They're so focused and fixated on what's happening, they never lose sight of the stage, don't get distracted or lose interest at all. So yeah, it's a serious drama. There's no music in such, apart from incidental background stuff, but it's drama.
Yes.
And it's history. Yes. It's edutainment.
I do like that word. I saw that on your site, and I thought, oh wow, yeah. It's a nice way to express it. Absolutely. Because it's education and entertainment all in one.
All in one, yeah. That's the best way to teach, isn't it? I think people are enjoying themselves, then they're also taking the information in.
Indeed, yes. So when you were casting, obviously, these individuals, how did you know they were right for the characters?
It's really weird. I think people found me rather than me finding people. Yeah, so it's strange. Yeah, I don't have to search very far for people. They were just there.
You.
Yeah. I can't even explain.
That was an easy task.
Yeah,
it wasn't actually a task.
No, it wasn't.
It was just by design. It just worked out. Everything fell into place.
Do you know what I mean? I can't even explain it.
Wow, that's awesome. That you've actually just had that connection was there, and it just transpired to what it is right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, that's really good to hear. So, with regards to the show. Obviously, you're going to be performing at the Millfield on the 11th and the 12th of April 2020. And obviously, it's going to be later the 17th and 18th, 19th of April also at the Theatre Peckham, yes?
Yeah.
So where do you intend to go after you've done those performances?
Don't know yet, but this series, Voices of Black Folks, will be ongoing.
Yes.
And it'll stop because this is just a chapter.
Yes, indeed.
It's just a chapter in the book, so we've got so much more to reveal. So yeah, I've already written the next one. So,
that's excellent. That's good to hear.
My pen, my hand, and my thoughts, they come, and I just have to put it down straight away. So we've got a musical, The Burning of Black Wall Street, which is later in the year. So when we finish this, we're about to go into pre-production on that.
Okay. So how is your show being advertised? Obviously, there's flyers, as I can see. I've seen it all over Instagram, your Facebook.
Yeah, it's going to be everywhere. So it's on all social media, so Twitter, everything.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I'm sure everyone will hear about it,
So also with regards to contacting yourself, like obviously you're obviously doing a lot of different stuff. You're involved. You're deep in. So if people want to reach out to you with regards to future productions, obviously castings and stuff like that, is there an outlet for you, or somewhere like if you're doing castings or auditions or anything like that for future events?
We can give you all our social media at the end, and they can put it up for people to see. Yeah, so they can find us that way. And we will respond. Any questions anybody has, we'll always respond to those. Yeah.
Okay, is there anything that you want individuals to know about your journey this far, and how, if it's been difficult for you getting it to where it is today? Have you had the support, the encouragement? Can you just tell us a little bit about the journey to this point? Because obviously this is quite a task.
For sure.
Because what you're displaying, the information that you're portraying, is something that is either received in positive or negative light, depending on who you are receiving it. So can you just give us a little insight?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as a historian, the information, it's not like I had to go out and look for people. Or who should I put in, and what will they say, and so on and so forth. Because as a historian, I'm already aware of the characters. So I just have to decide on which ones, and make a good blend, and then write the script. But to write the script, you have to get into the personalities of the individuals that you're representing. So I try to stay true to their character and characteristics based on what I've read about them.
Yes.
And then I have to build on top of that and add some things that they actually said.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a combination of things. In terms of the journey, in terms of I'm kind of like, I will have lots of creative ideas, and sometimes, we always wait for the ideal moment to do something. You need this thing, you need that. But if we wait for the ideal moment, we'll never do anything.
Yeah, you have to seize that moment and take it.
You have to just take it. You have to just move. Yeah. And then hope that things move with you, and and once you get momentum, then everyone sort of comes aboard. So I don't think about the hurdles or challenges. Get on with it and do it, and then see how it manifests.
Yeah. So, with regards to the actors and actresses that you have with you, working with you, how are they? Yeah. How are they feeling about the project?
Well, it's a good question, because it's not just, you can't just have any actors or actresses and stuff. They it's not just a part for them. They're actually buying into what they're doing, which is educating the people. Because for all people, let's just say that from the beginning. It's not just for black people to come and see, to find out about the history. It's also for other people to know about our history, So, because what they've heard, what they know is part rumor, part legend, part myth. Yes. But not the facts. Yeah. The actors and the actresses, they're totally dedicated, very talented, hardworking, and they buy into the concept of what the show is, what it's trying to do, and where we are. So just like we were in Black Heroes, people have to buy into the concept. So,
you have to understand the journey.
Understand the journey. You can't just, get any actor or actress. It's more than acting. So
you've been quite lucky with your selection, for the simple reason that they came to you as opposed to you seeking them.
Yeah, you came. Like I say, I can't even explain it. It's really weird. I'll give you an example. Miko, who plays or has played several roles in the different series that we've had. He played the role in the previous one of Joseph Boulon, who's the Chevalier de Saint-Georges. Some people may know him. Great composer, great swordsman, great statesman, also a general. I found him. I gave him a flyer.
Yes.
At an event I was at. I gave him a flyer, and he sort of jumped up out of his chair and saying, "Oh my God, this is the character I've always wanted to play in my life." But of course,
wow.
yeah. Of course, with someone who was recasting the character, but it transpired that he ended up playing the role anyway.
Wow.
So that was this example of how weird.
That's just meant to be.
Yeah. It's really strange.
Now, my question to you is, this journey that you have in this field, we're talking about history.
That's right.
We're talking about perceptions. We're talking about understanding. First thing springs to mind is youth.
Oh yeah.
Our youth of today, modern times, today, right here, right now, in the current climate that we're in. You doing what you do, you're doing it for a reason, for awareness, education, entertainment, so on and so forth. How do you feel what you do in its capacity will reflect upon the youth of today?
I can see what I'd hope it would do, which is obviously inform them, encourage them, empower them. I mean, that's the objectives at the end of the day. Because we don't just teach history for the sake of, oh, that's nice, so, it makes you feel good for 2 hours. You get a little euphoric and you go home, whatever. It's not about that. It's about how do I use this in my present day living. So that's the objective of it, is really to because once you feel good about yourself, all things are possible.
You feel
so in terms of the youth, so that's what we want to inject in the youth, that positivity, knowing that whatever you heard, it ain't true. There's more, or you never heard, because they don't teach much history in school.
No, not that type of history anyway. So how are you reaching out to those youths? It's a question that you may not physically be reaching out to them, but you may indirectly be reaching out to them. So what are you doing? Obviously you can see what's happening in society at the present moment. So what do you feel you as an individual doing what you do can do to help where we're at this present time?
Well, as an organization, or we can just reach out to groups who have young people under their influence, if you like, and reach out to them and show them the benefits of bringing those groups to I've got yesterday a group approached me saying they want to bring some 14 to 15 year olds,
good age group,
so how much is it going to cost and so on and so forth. So there's always concessions for groups like that, because we want to. It's not a money thing.
No.
If you know what I mean. Of course, you need money to sustain it, to keep it going.
To keep it going.
But at the same time, we want to make it accessible.
Yes.
To people. So, you know what I mean? So for young people, we really would love to see a lot of, groups of, youth people. Because we want to turn around that narrative that people have about us, And I think sometimes we can buy into the negativity too. Yes. That's all we hear.
Yeah, so most of the time you hear negative over positive. So your energy is channeled to that sometimes if you're that way inclined. So sometimes it's important that we have more positive things flowing, so you grasp that as opposed to latching yourself onto negativity.
With showing these characters also, I think we do a lot of complaining. I haven't got this, I haven't got that, I need this, I need that. Oh, these people don't like me, that one don't like me. We do all this
negative
stuff,
forces.
this kind of stuff is stopping, But when I show these characters, I say, well, if you check their situations out, most of the situations were 100 times worse than yours.
Oh, yes.
And these people are thriving. So what excuse do you have? So it's by showing these examples, like, it's all about attitude, really.
Yes.
And mindset.
Yes.
That's how you achieve.
Yeah, most definitely. So with regards to the play, obviously these are currently in the theatre. For the future, obviously you've done productions prior to this.
Yep.
So are you looking to release videos, books, or...
Yes.
tell me a little bit about that, because obviously those are people who haven't actually seen the shows that have been previously done. How would they connect with you to get that information or that material?
Well, I mean, those items you mentioned aren't ready yet, but they're definitely in the pipeline.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to put all the scripts from all the different characters that we've created. You know, from Harriet Tubman,
yes,
Joseph Boulon, Bessie Coleman, David Walker, Chevalier de Saint George, these three here, Queen Charlotte, Queen Philippa, Ottobah Kwagwana, and Septimius Severus. Going to put them all in a book, all the scripts, so people can use them in school, you know, as an educational resource in schools, and get the young people reenacting these characters that can only empower them. Yeah.
Talking about the education, because obviously you're a teacher, that's correct, right?
Yeah.
So how is the information received by students? It's just interesting to know, because we seem to have a generation or generations that seem to be lost. I'm intrigued to know how your information, how your knowledge and experience has been received by students. And obviously some is going to be positive, some is going to be negative, but I'm just intrigued to find out what their perception of your teachings are.
That's a good question. We're mainly teaching to adults, you know, rather than young people, do you know what I mean? Not for, you know, that's how we want it, but that's just the way it is. It's kind of transparent. Normally, young people come to things like this, you have to kind of drag them along or bring them along. What is it? Is there music? You know, black people like music. People like to party, you know. So, you know, sitting down, even as a young person in a theatre watching drama, probably think sounds quite boring to them. But when I've seen the young people that come to the play, the comments after, it's like, you know, they're so happy that they came. Yeah, they didn't know what they were to get. It's a preconcept they had, you know, and an idea. Preconcept they had of the idea, and the idea they had in their head didn't match what was presented. It was much better.
Right, that's good.
So I think people are generally surprised that they see uplifted, and some of the testimonials are fantastic that we've had. Yeah.
That's really good. I want you to delve in a little bit more, but then I don't want people to not come and see the show.
No.
So
me talking about it once, well, you know, it's not giving anything away. So.
No, not really. It isn't. I agree. Yeah. How was the journey? Obviously, you're the director of a show, and you've got individuals you don't know, and you're working with these individuals on a completely different spectrum. I mean, you're total strangers. They have a perception of you. You have a perception of them based on what they can see you do. Tell me how the journey's been, because obviously, if you're not into theatre, if you've never directed a theatrical show, you've never casted, you've never done scripting, you don't have a clue what this is all about. Can you just give us a little insight, like a little, you know, background insight as to how it feels for you, how it feels when what you've put on paper comes to light, and just
that last question's a good one, because it's amazing when you have a thought. Everything starts with a thought, anyway, whatever it is. But creatively, you have an idea, let me do this. And then to manifest it, and then, first of all, in the writing, and then getting the people to play the roles, and then to see on the stage, you know, that evolution is fantastic, you know, it's wonderful. Especially when it matches what was in your mind's eye at the beginning. You know? So yeah, that is very rewarding.
Yes.
That's the way I can describe it. Because those, whatever we call them, gifts or whatever we want to call them, you know, we have to be good stewards of the gifts that we've got. So I'm making sure that I'm using whatever anointing I have to the fullness.
100%. Yeah. Are you enjoying this journey thus far?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's tough when you're trying to do other things at the same time. You know, ideally, I would just like to focus on this. Probably will do soon.
Eventually.
But yeah, most definitely, of course, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you feel that you're getting the support, being a black production in Britain, so to speak? Do you feel that you could get more help, or there should be a bit more awareness from the people above, or to give you what you need to support you?
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, recently I've just linked up with another good friend of mine, and we're kind of doing this together now, which is a blessing. It's really eased some of the burden off of me. I can just concentrate on the creative elements of it. Because people see you doing all of the different things and think, oh, he's doing that, he's doing this. It's not because you want to, it's because you have to. Until somebody can come along and say, let me ease the burden that you got there. Let me take some of that yoke from you, and do this for you, and you do this. So yes, everything takes time. So I begin to see the manifestation of some good things.
Is there anything that you would like to express, display about this journey, future journeys?
Well, just that the history is a living thing, and the importance of history is that it got you to where we are today, and it's important for us to know that odyssey, if you like. How did we get here? A lot of ignorance is expressed about black people and so on and so forth, even by ourselves too, without a knowledge of what they're really saying. So the main thing is we're trying to encourage people to go and to be diligent about researching history and check things, question things, challenge things. Don't just accept a narrative that's presented to you, because you have to really dig deep to find stuff. Not as deep as you used to, because when I was looking for books, going back 20, 25, 30 years, you had to go and it felt like you were, you felt like you were on an odyssey for a trip, going miles to find this book and no one had it, and then you take yourself to another shop and then they never had it. But now, you can sit down in your front room and order everything on Amazon. There's no excuse not to be well informed. Yeah.
Touching on that subject, like research and stuff, like obviously the characters that you have brought to light, many people, numerous people won't know these characters. How easy was it for you to get this information? I know we have the Amazons, we have all the other different outlets to obtain this information, but how easy was it for you to actually get that information, to give you that insight, to take you on the journey that you've actually started?
Good question. Anyone can have that. All you need is a spirit of inquiry. It means you want to know. If you want to know something, you start digging, and then you find something that leads you to something else, and that leads you to something else.
That's that inquisitive mind,
right?
Right?
You have to have that. So, once they kill that in a person, then you're like a zombie, really. Spirit of inquiry. Looking for things, searching for things, questioning things, challenging things, and that's the only way that you can find the truth, if you like. Especially when it comes to our history, because it's, as I say, it's not something that is
readily available.
It's available now, and I think there's lots of books, and we can, as I said before, you can reach out on Google and get anything you want now.
But I guess it's about, our history is about wanting to know about yourself
that's
as
the first
well.
Thing.
So at the end of the day, if you've been brainwashed or you've been following that negative trail, your insight isn't really to look for that.
Yeah, that's right.
So doing things like what you're doing, performing shows like this and making people aware helps the situation, because it makes them think outside the box.
Exactly.
It makes them inquisitive as to, if this was happening and we were this, what else were we?
Of course, that's it.
Which is important, because if we know who we are as a people, we'd appreciate and respect ourselves for what we are.
Yeah, and I think the thing with history is that they kind of want to pigeonhole us when we start talking about black people's history. They want us to talk about Africa.
Yes.
And of course we do, and we must, but we are everywhere.
Indeed.
There's no corner of this globe
that we haven't been.
That we haven't been first.
Yes, first is the key word. First.
So no one should ever be surprised about anything that they dig up or find. In fact, I'm never surprised, but a lot of the a lot of archaeologists express surprise when they find something, relating to black people in some place it shouldn't be, as far as they're concerned.
That boils down to what they've been told.
Yeah, exactly.
So at the end of the day, they have a perception of something, and based on that perception, that's what it is.
And they're scholars.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
So if the scholars have been brainwashed, as you put it, or
led to believe what they want them to believe.
Of course. Yeah, because it's all linked to imperialism, it's all linked to supremacy and that kind of thing. Can't open the door for you. Like, wow, how are we going to control you after that?
Yeah. It's an interesting conversation and discussion, because we all have interests in things, but we don't venture out and have conversations in an open forum that allows people to hear, understand, start to interrogate, investigate, and look into. So it gets to a point where they're either interested or they're not. That's where they're the two coins. There's the in between, but then the in between are not inquisitive enough to venture out to look.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So like, we need to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And having things like what you're doing today, I mean, other people are doing, but you're exposing people that people have never heard of. You're bringing out names that make you think, hold on a second, who am I as a black person, a person of colour, living in Britain? There's more to me than what I've been told. Now, how many are going to take that to another level?
Well, you know what? Numbers are interesting. 10 people can affect thousands.
Yeah.
And those thousands can affect tens of thousands.
Indeed.
Those tens of thousands can impact.
And it just keeps growing.
That's why it keeps growing. So you can start with one.
Yeah.
Even if you do a lecture and there's only 3 people in there.
Yeah.
Just take one of those people to go away with something, and they may tell 30.
Yeah.
And those 30, out of the 30, maybe 15 will go forward. So it's amazing thing with numbers, the multiplication of that. It's binary fission, it's subdividing themselves. Before you look around, there's millions of people who are informed.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot,
Yeah, so long as the message is right, it will get and reach the people it needs to reach.
Because I don't know how many people we were doing Black Heroes all those years, how many people we've impacted.
Oh, yeah, well.
I can't go anywhere in London and you mention Black Heroes, it's like a password to
password to history.
To acceptance anyway. Black Heroes. Well, Black Heroes, So, and how many people they've told, and so it must be in millions now.
Yeah, at least. To say the least.
They didn't see it. Millions didn't see it.
No.
But millions would have heard something from it.
So it's impacted on people, and just as your shows that you're doing, they're educating and entertaining people on a different level. Yeah,
we really want people to get into the characteristics of the characters themselves,
which is important.
Yeah, because with Black Heroes we did great stuff. We showed people, like hundreds of heroes and heroes, if you like. We didn't really get to know them because there's no time to really, so what we're trying to do with this is actually get people to actually know a bit more about
which is absolutely perfect, because at the end of the day you're now dissecting it, and you're actually going right in deep for people to understand who these people are, and it's needed because we don't have that information readily available to us.
That's right. I want people to know the challenges they had.
Yes.
And then they can see some symmetry what they're going through as well, because some things don't change.
Yeah, the journey doesn't change, does it? The struggles are still there, no matter what century you're in.
Yeah, you take, for instance, the character Septimius Severus, the emperor, Roman emperor, who lived in York, and his 2 sons, Caracalla and Geta, who were with him. And they're going to Scotland, and they're complaining of how cold it is and how savage the people are up there, and this kind of thing. You get an insight into the times in which they're living in.
Yeah, because now you're getting visuals.
Yeah, exactly.
Of them being in that place, and not an environment they're not accustomed to. So
and also the country that they're coming from, the Mediterranean.
Yeah, so heat.
They're coming from the Mediterranean with their culture, with their civilization, and they're coming and meeting people who are not at the same level.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's an eye-opener for them.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, see, now you're getting into the characters and talking. It's making my eyes open. But I'm like, okay, keep talking.
Yeah. Well, you know, take the same character, Septimus Severus. You know, everyone knows the movie Gladiator.
Yes.
With Russell Crowe, and they create this fictional character Maximus. And actually, at the time when Septimus Severus is alive, we're talking about the 190s, 2nd century AD. That movie Gladiator is set in Germania, as it was called, and Maximus is the general in charge there. But in real life, that general should have been Septimus Severus.
Okay.
You see? But see, Hollywood do what
change
they
it to suit themselves.
Because at that time, you have 3 sons of Africa vying for the title of emperor. You have one who's actually the governor of Britain and Gaul, which is France and Belgium and Holland, and his name is Clodius Albinus. So you know straight away what he was. Yeah, it's in the name.
Yes, indeed. Then
you have another character named Pisenius Niger. Again, it's in the name. He is the governor of Syria, the Palestine, and all that sort of Asia Minor. And then you have Septimus Severus, who's the governor of Pannonia and Germania and all those places in the middle of the center of Europe. So you've got 3 black men. The 3 most powerful
black men
in the Roman Empire are blacks.
Yeah. And never mentioned.
When have you heard that? No one never talks about it.
Never spoken of.
It's phenomenal. That movie would be far more interesting if you made that the central theme.
Yeah. But by design, it's not done that way.
So that's what I'm saying. So that's the movies we need to be making now. You know, not all this. I know we're talking about social stuff, but all these movies about gangs and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone is doing it.
Yeah.
There's other stories in it. Right?
Yeah, and more meaningful stories, uplifting. Yeah, things that make us feel like they've put these films on and stuff to make out that's what we are, which is not a true reflection of us. It's a society that we live in, but it's not who we are as a people.
Yeah, 2 things there. Number one, they're almost creating what they're representing.
Yeah, that's right.
So they create behavior.
Yes.
Because it's a learned behavior, what I see or do.
Yes.
But then, whatever we are as a people around the world, because of the African Holocaust, whatever black people are, is a creation of the empire.
Indeed.
British Empire, French Empire, Spanish, Portuguese. Whatever black person you see today, very much in America, in South America, in the Caribbean, and Britain, is their creation.
Yeah.
They created the behavior that they see because of what the experience that we have through them.
It's interesting having these conversations. It's so interesting because it does make you think a bit deeper. You know, we're so busy getting on with everyday life.
Sure.
We don't take time out to have conversations.
That's a design too. I mean,
and it's not healthy. You know, this is like precious time, and anyone listening will be like, it gets the mind thinking. I need to do a little bit more research. I need to check things out a little bit more than not just take things on face value, because a lot of times we're told things and we just run with it.
Yeah, we need a stimulus. We need a stimulation to stimulation to go and
But I think we have to learn to stimulate ourselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that is true. And then you think, how would you do that if you're in a state of depression, a state of angst, a state of low self-esteem?
How do you
that's a million miles away, you know?
That doesn't even exist in your...
Yeah, of course. It's not in your hemisphere at all.
Nowhere.
So maybe what we want to do is stop the creation of these psychosis.
Yes.
And we got a few psychoses of black people, that self-hate thing going on. We do a lot of crazy stuff.
Definitely.
Trying to imitate other people. And we try not to imitate other people who are less than perfect.
Yes.
and you're already perfect.
Yeah, and you don't
and
know.
they're imitating you, and you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's really strange. It's a paradox.
There's an identity issue there.
For sure.
Major identity issue. Kareem, I'd like you to just give us all the information about the show that's up and coming, the 2 shows that are up and coming in April, and all your socials, so we can actually get people to come down and be a part of this.
Sure, I'll give you the socials off here so you can put them, because I can't remember them all. But yeah, as I say, 11th and the 12th of April at the Millfield Theatre in Silver Street, isn't it? Yeah, in Edmonton. And the 17th, 18th, 19th at Theatre Peckham in South London in Havel Street. So yeah, we will have, I'll give Manny all the social media stuff so you can make contact with us if you need to, if you want to ask any further questions and so on and so forth. Yeah.
So he's got, Khareem has his Facebook, he has his Instagram, Twitter.
I can't remember what we got. Other people take care of that.
Just type in what they need to type in. Just
Voice of Black Folk.
There you go. Voice of Black Folk.
Voices of Black Folk. Yeah.
The voices of Black Folk. Once you type that into any of the search engines, you should be able to see that information pop up. Khareem, your knowledge, your experience in this field is. Goes on and on and on, and it's nice to see that you're now breaking down this history that we have. We touched on Black heroes, and we did it on a level where we bombarded them with characters.
Sure.
And it's nice to see that you're now dissecting and taking out characters and expanding on them on a different level. That it's great.
Yeah, because people have fascinating stories.
Yes, indeed. And you're bringing those to light.
Yeah, encouraging stories.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to say with regards to your education journey, your teachings? Obviously, you're someone to be watched because you're doing stuff. You're educating us on a day-to-day basis.
Well, we also did a series of lectures with a group called A Tribe Called Progress. Michael, if you're listening, who last week I did a lecture on leadership seen through the eyes of Toussaint Louverture. So using these characters and showing the characteristics of them, what made them successful, how did they do what they did, how did they get people to follow them, how did they overcome obstacles, what inspired them, how did they learn to read? No one taught them. How did they learn to speak English so fluently and with such perfection? No one taught them. So again, we have no excuses, for failure, only ourselves.
Okay. I'd like to take this opportunity for thanking Mr. Khareem Jamal for coming into iLive Studio today and telling us about the voices of black folk, black voices in Britain, expressing all his knowledge and just giving us a little insight on just a few characters that we should maybe get involved in and take a look and see what those people are all about. Not to mention taking in some of that show, the 11th to 12th of April. Also, that's at the Millfield Theatre, and also 17th, 18th and 19th of April 2020 at the Theatre Peckham. So please...
and just to say that it's a family show. It's for every generation.
It's for every generation. You've been told by the director himself. It's for all of us, okay? So there's no excuses. So once again, I'd like to take this opportunity for thanking Khareem for coming into the studio today.
Pleasure.
And it's been a pleasure having you here today.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night and God bless.
You too.
What if we spoke honestly? What if we spoke honestly? What if we spoke honestly?